Hello and welcome to the National Press Theatre. Before we begin, we have a few important preventative measures to share. To prevent disruptive and potentially harmful audio feedback incidents that can cause injuries, we remind you all, for the people in person, for the people inside the room, to keep your earpieces away from all microphones at all times. When you're not using your earpiece, please place it face down on the middle of the sticker for this purpose that you will find on the table. Please consult the cards on the table for guidelines to prevent audio feedback incidents. These measures are in place so that we can protect the health and safety of all participants, including the interpreters, and conduct our business without interruption. Thank you for your cooperation. Aujourd'hui, la conférence de presse porte sur le rapport annuel du commissaire de la protection de la vie privée au Canada. The floor is yours.
Good morning all. Thank you for being here. I am pleased to be joined by UK Information Commissioner John Edwards to share the results of our joint investigation into the global data breach at 23andMe. As you may know, Commissioner Edwards is in Ottawa this week to participate in the 2025 G7 Data Protection and Privacy Authorities Roundtable that I'm hosting tomorrow and Thursday. The roundtable provides an opportunity to exchange and discuss matters of mutual interest with international counterparts, with a focus on collaborative efforts to advance privacy and data protection in a digital age. This investigation is an excellent example of this collaboration in action. Before we take your questions, Commissioner Edwards and I will each say a few words about the investigation and findings. Nous avons décidé de lancer cette enquête conjointe en raison de la portée internationale de l'atteinte et de la nature très sensible des renseignements personnels en cause. The breach at 23andMe impacted almost 7 million people worldwide, including nearly 320,000 people in Canada. The compromised data included highly sensitive information related to health, race, and ethnicity information, as well as information about relatives, date of birth, sex at birth, and gender. Much of this information was derived from individuals' DNA. The breach serves as a cautionary tale for all organizations about the importance of data protection in an era of growing cyber threats. It is particularly relevant at a time when more and more personal information is being collected, used, and shared in a growing digital economy. I'll repeat this in French. L'atteinte sert de mise en garde pour toutes les organisations quant à l'importance de la protection des données à une époque où les cybermenaces sont de plus en plus nombreuses. Ce dossier est particulièrement pertinent à une époque où de plus en plus de renseignements personnels sont recueillis, utilisés et communiqués dans une économie numérique en pleine croissance. Strong data protection must be a priority for organizations, especially those that are holding sensitive personal information. Organizations must also take proactive steps to protect against cyber attacks. This includes using multi-factor authentication, strong minimum password requirements, compromised password checks, and adequate monitoring to detect abnormal activity. With data breaches growing in severity and complexity, and ransomware and malware attacks rising sharply, any organization that is not taking steps to prioritize data protection and address these threats is increasingly vulnerable. Étant donné que les atteintes à la sécurité des données sont de plus en plus graves et complexes et que les attaques par rançongiciels et logiciels malveillants sont en forte augmentation, toute organisation qui ne prend pas de mesures pour prioriser la protection des données et faire face à ces menaces est de plus en plus vulnérable. Our investigation found that these types of security measures were not in place at 23andMe, which enabled a hacker to carry out a credential stuffing attack. We were also concerned to find that the stolen data was later offered for sale online, putting the personal information of affected individuals at further risk. Before I turn things over to Commissioner Edwards, I would like to thank him and his team for collaborating with us on this important investigation. Joint investigations like this one demonstrate how regulatory collaboration can more effectively address issues of global significance. By leveraging our combined powers, resources, and expertise, we're able to maximize our impact and better protect and promote the fundamental right to privacy of individuals across jurisdictions. What do you do?
Merci. Thank you, Commissioner Dufresne. Bonjour. Je ne parle pas français. Je suis désolé. So I will speak in English only. I want to first thank Commissioner Dufresne and his team for this profoundly important and impactful joint investigation, which highlights the power and importance of international cooperation in holding global companies to account. Data protection does not stop at borders, and neither do we when it comes to protecting the rights of UK citizens. Today, we have issued a fine of £2.31 million to 23andMe for failing to implement appropriate security measures to protect the personal information of UK users. As Commissioner Dufresne said, this was a profoundly damaging breach that exposed sensitive personal information, family histories, and even health conditions of more than 150,000 people in the United Kingdom. 23andMe failed to take basic steps to protect people's information. Their security systems were inadequate, the warning signs were there, and the company was slow to respond. This left people's most sensitive personal data vulnerable to exploitation and harm. This shows the ongoing importance of cybersecurity. It's about more than a set of technical measures to protect systems and networks. It's about protecting people from harm by making sure that appropriate measures are put in place to keep their information safe. People affected by this breach told us that they felt anxious about what it could mean to their personal, financial, and family safety. As one of those impacted told us, unlike usernames, passwords, and email addresses, you can't change your genetic makeup when a data breach occurs. From what we see at the Information Commissioner's Office every day, most of the organisations we see getting cybersecurity wrong have made preventable mistakes. This case should be a lesson to other companies that they risk becoming the next target for cyber criminals if they don't have robust security measures in place. We are currently monitoring 23andMe's situation and are in contact with the company's legal representatives and the US trustee. As a matter of UK law, the protections and restrictions of the UK GDPR continue to apply, and 23andMe remains under an obligation to protect the personal information of its customers. Any potential buyer of 23andMe must comply with the UK law when processing personal information relating to its customers in the UK. Thank you, and thank you once again to Commissioner Dufresne and his team for their work in this important matter.
We will now open it up for questions. I have Laura Osman from The Logic.
Thanks for taking our questions this morning. The UK is imposing a £2.31 million fine. Is there anything Canada can do in terms of a fine or disciplinary measure for the data breach and some of the factors that you outlined?
So Commissioner Edwards has the authority to issue fines and orders. This is something that exists broadly around the world in privacy authorities, and it is something that is necessary. Unfortunately, Canadian privacy law does not yet provide this to me. It is something that I have been advocating for since my appointment. We had proposed law reform in the last Parliament in Bill C-27, and I hope and expect that this new Parliament will be turning its attention to remedying this and giving us the ability to issue orders and fines. And you can see in a case like this, in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of things where time is of the essence, where there are real consequences, this is a gap. That being said, this is one of the many reasons why we are leveraging international collaboration with partners around the world and also around Canada so that we can maximize our impacts. And I will continue to use all the tools that I have, but I need more and better ones.
Thank you. The new CEO is looking to take over the company, is in fact the previous CEO that was in power during this data breach. Given how you discovered during your investigation, do you have any concerns about the same leadership taking over the company with the intention to sell data outside the company?
I can start. What we've seen, certainly we've made recommendations in this investigation. The organization has taken steps to address some of our recommendations, and so as a result, we have found that this was substantiated but resolved in terms of the measures taken. In terms of the purchasing process, statements and assurance have also been made in terms of the upcoming buyer respecting the existing privacy policies and clauses, and we certainly expect this to be done. We've indicated in the report that we will be following this carefully, that the obligations should continue to apply to any new owner, and that if there are any concerns, that our citizens can reach out to us and we'll take the appropriate steps.
I'll just add that these are ongoing obligations. So they've been drawn to the leadership's attention that they've been in breach. They've failed to reach the standard required by UK law. If they don't remedy that, they will remain in breach and could be exposed to further enforcement action.
If there are any questions on the Zoom, I'd invite you to raise your hand.
I guess I'm just wondering if Canada doesn't have sort of the teeth to enforce these new privacy measures that have been put in place, what action will your office be taking in collaboration with the Canadian government to ensure that Canadians' most personal information is protected?
Right. Thank you for the question. So we're using all the tools at our disposal. That includes making recommendations to Parliament, appearing before committee and calling for law reform, reaching out to industry, using proactive statements, working towards compliance agreement, working with the international community. In appropriate cases, I can and will apply to the federal court to seek an order to make binding obligation on organization. We're currently doing that with respect to the company ALO, the owner of Pornhub, that has so far refused to implement my investigation, finding that the sharing on of intimate images was done without sufficient consent under Canadian law. So where appropriate, we will take those further steps, but this takes time, this takes resources. Having order-making power would make it immediate and would bring timely remedies to Canadians.
While we have you here, the government is putting forward new border measures as part of a bill that has raised serious privacy concerns. It allows the government to ask companies to divulge personal information. Where do you stand on this bill? What kind of advice are you offering to the government and to Parliament on this?
Thank you. So in terms of national security measures and privacy, this is something that has come up many occasions in the last Parliament, and this is an example of one which comes up in this one. So I look forward to appearing before committee and giving my views on the specifics of this bill. We are reviewing it, and the things that we are looking for in issues like this, when we're giving more powers to law enforcement authorities or national security, is reaching that balance. Is it necessary and proportionate? Is there sufficient transparency? Is there sufficient, are the safeguards appropriate? Are the requirements appropriate in terms of when can you get this information and what circumstances? So as I've said many times before, privacy is not an obstacle to the public interest, including public safety. It's not an obstacle to a strong economy, but it's also not a zero-sum game. Canadians shouldn't have to choose between having safe and secure borders and having their fundamental right to privacy. They don't have to. We can achieve both.
There are no questions on Zoom, so this concludes the press conference. Ceci conclut la conférence de presse. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.